Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangl.
Welcome to episode number 39 of the Money Tip Podcast. My name is Joe Sangl. Fired up to have you on board on this Monday, or whatever day you choose to listen to it. And I'm excited to be joined again by my co-host, Megan Hibbard. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
You're fired up?
Fired up.
I am so fired up about the creative title that we have come up with today's episode.
I do like it too.
Share everybody what we've named it.
Okay, we've named it Foolish, because today's April Fool's Day.
It's April Fool's Day.
Money mistakes.
Foolish money mistakes.
Yep.
On April Fool's Day.
So,
love it.
Since it's April Fool's Day, in honor of that, we're going to be sharing foolish money mistakes that everyone should avoid. So our question for today is, what are some of the most foolish money mistakes people make?
That's a great question. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Before we dive into it, though, it is that very special time of the podcast. You know what time it is. Let's go.
Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the Monday Money Tip Podcast is sponsored by the banking section of the I Was Broke, Now I'm Not Next Step page. This is where you'll find all of our favorite banks who offer the best interest rates and zero fees. Check it out today by visiting iwbnin.com, click on Next Steps, and then select Banking.
And that page really is awesome, and it's a great way to make money with your savings. If you're joining by watching us on YouTube, you can see it here on the screen of our Next Steps area where you can find it. We have also included it in the show notes as well. Today, for the current events section, because we like to be right now relevant, is we're talking about it's tax season. It's tax day right around the corner. In fact, in 2 weeks from today, from the day of the release of this on April 15th, it is tax day. Now, most people who get refunds, they don't even care about tax day.
Nope.
Because if you're getting a refund, everybody's applying, late January, early February. As soon as they get their information, they're applying to get their hands on that money. But those who owe, which is a lot of small business owners, 1099 people, subcontractors, or people who kind of maybe changed their exemptions and got caught on owing, they know that April 15th is the day. And so I thought on this current money events section, which isn't that awesome?
You hit a whole new level.
My next career is singing.
Very you spiked there.
But I want to talk about this tax day because if you do get a giant refund, many people have been told, hey, you should not do that. That's like giving an interest-free loan to the government.
Right.
I want to address that. And I want to address it once and for all. So I want to be the authority voice on tax refunds. And so I have hereby proclaimed I am the authority voice on tax refunds. It is okay for you to get a big, large tax refund. Here's why. For many people, this is kind of like a built forced savings into their plan through the year. And very rarely throughout the year do you get your chance to receive such a large chunk of money that gives you the option to consider something beyond, the little amount that might average out to per paycheck. And so that's something to think about. And the other reason is interest rates. Like how much interest, Megan, would an average person earn on their tax refund if they actually received that money every month? And they chose to put it in savings, which is a big if or maybe.
Right. I mean, if you're at one of the big banks, you're making 0.01%. If you're on an online bank, you may be making upwards of 2%, but.
Yeah. I mean, the average bank right now is 0.04% on savings. That's on the big banks. So you would make somewhere around,
not a lot.
$4 on your average refund.
Yeah.
If you choose one of the online banks we like to recommend under our Next Steps banking area, maybe you earn 2.25% and on a $5,000 return, it's kind of like $100. So it's not zero, but it's also not a lot. And trust me, many people will not, if they receive it in their paycheck every month, actually save it.
Right.
And so I just want to say, as the now newly minted authority on tax refunds on whether or not you should receive one.
Congratulations.
It's okay. Good job, y'all. And the second one is, I do really encourage you to utilize our mini budget form. Once you know what your refund is as we've shared in other episodes, make sure you use that mini budget and plan out 3 different ways. Consider those 3 different ways that you could spend it before you spend it for real. Because it'll always challenge you to think about what is the best use of this money, the best utility of this money. Many people call that the opportunity cost of the money, which is the next best alternative use of the funds. And a lot of times, using the latter as your guide, this can really help you nail down what your best and most impactful decision could be with the money.
Yep.
So congratulations if you got a refund. If you owe, get them paid by midnight, April 15th, so that you don't get in trouble with the government, or file an extension if you have to.
Awesome.
That's it for the current money events.
Perfect.
section.
And we actually did an episode where we went more in depth on that mini budget form, specifically, I think, with the tax reform. So maybe we'll link that in the show notes too. In case you're curious, you can listen to that episode as well. So now we're going to go to our success story for today. And today we're talking about Tammy's success story. And Tammy said, I was very surprised to see how following a budget and watching our spending so closely allowed us to be so disciplined. And now we've desired to be mindful of our spending allowed us to actually build our savings. I have always been afraid of facing our financial situation. We do not have a great deal of debt. We do have a great deal of debt. However, we cannot change the things we do not acknowledge, and facing our finances has made us change the way we view them. We did have some struggles filling out how to get the budget to easy. So she's trying to get the budget to exactly zero.
Trademark.
Is what our easy means. To work on a bi-weekly payday. But we did have some margin in the budget. We also, now to a 0% interest bounced credit card, they got some debt relief with that. So thank you for helping us. And this is Tammy, and she was actually part of our budget challenge that we did.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so I want to just share a few things about Tammy. First off, thanks so much for sending in your success story. This podcast is powered and fueled by your success. That's what we're committed to, is your financial success. And I wanted to make a couple of comments. One thing that Tammy shared is some feelings that she experienced.
Right.
One of those is she was surprised, a feeling of surprise. Many times, the simple act of preparing a budget will surprise you on where your money's actually going and how swiftly you could gain better control of it. So that's great. She also talked about how it led to the feeling of discipline happening. Man, that is a great feeling, to be in control of your money. I'm a control freak. Are you a control freak?
I am.
Well, especially about money?
Yes.
Yeah. And so it allows you to gain control, and that is a wonderful feeling, especially when it's in your financial arena. And then she said, I've always been afraid. And I thank Tammy for being honest about that, because many of us do feel afraid. And if you're listening to this Monday Money Tip and you're kind of afraid, but you're leaning into this podcast to try to get a better understanding of it, it is our hope every time to help, assuage those fears, to put those to the side and help you really engage with this at a level that you can understand and take immediate action. As we like to say, we like to give right now relevant information. She mentions that they faced their finances. There's power in facing up to it and not running from it. And then also said they had some struggles. You're going to continue to have struggles, Tammy. I just encourage you to just remind yourself of this success and let it power you through the next struggle. And the struggles will change names. Once you finally have money, you don't want to lose it.
That's true.
Right? It's so the struggles will always be there. And then she took advantage of the 0% balance transfer offer. And we keep a running list of those on our website because it's such a great way to reduce the interest to nothing.
Yeah.
So that you can get real good traction towards debt freedom. Way to go, Tammy. And we will be offering that budget challenge again soon. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. We'll maybe talk about one of the upcoming Monday Money Tip podcasts.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, so now just to remind you guys of our featured question for today. So we're talking about foolish money mistakes. So we're going to go over what are some of the most foolish money mistakes people make. So are you ready? I'm going to read the first one.
Yep.
Okay, mistake number 1 is using home equity loan to pay off credit card debt. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually did it this week.
Whoa.
I used my home equity to pay off credit card debt.
And you wrote the podcast?
April Fools! Ha ha! I got you. That's great.
I was
Did
like,
I get you guys too?
You wrote these questions.
I caught her. It's so good. I love it. No, I haven't done that. And by the way, it rarely works. So using home equity loans to pay off credit cards
is a foolish mistake. Most people have run up the credit cards because of poor money behavior.
Right.
And they think that by using the home equity that they are doing something positive financially, and they are securing in unsecured debt, credit card debt, with a secured loan, a home equity loan. And number two, they didn't change their behavior. And what usually ends up happening, and I've coached a lot of people who've experienced this, is they end up with a home equity loan and the credit cards start to grow back. Why? Because they didn't change their behavior.
Yeah.
So don't do that. It is not a good decision. The only time that I would encourage you to do that is if you've lived and operated by a budget for a minimum of 6 months, you've proven to yourself that you've changed your behavior, and this can be a great way. I would much rather, instead of using home equity to do this, I would rather get the credit card balances rolled to a 0% balance transfer offer and address it that way.
Awesome. Okay, mistake
I
number...
got you on the April Fool's Day.
I was like, this is so awkward that we're talking about this. You just wrote these mistakes. Okay, mistake number 2, choosing not to prepare a budget every single month.
Choosing not to prepare a monthly budget. Now, listen, the reason I say this is the foolish mistake is because it is a choice to not prepare a budget. And I know a lot of people would push back and say, I didn't choose not to do that. I just didn't do it. No,
the choice.
You chose not to do it. You chose to use all of the time, the 168 hours you had in the week that I had. For some reason, I chose to put it in my plan to budget, in my time plan, and you chose not to.
Right.
It may not have been a conscious choice. It may have been a choice born of fatigue, of exhaustion, of lack of time. But I encourage you, don't make this foolish mistake. On this April Fool's Day, don't make the mistake of not having a budget. By the way, it's the first day of the month. You need to have a budget. You do have a budget for April, don't you? Do you have your budget done?
I mean,
Of course.
probably by the time this is
By the time this
released,
episode releases, absolutely. So listen, choose to do a budget every single month. Every month is different. And Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent, the people who prepare a plan and are diligent to follow it, it will yield profit. It leaves with money left over, as surely as haste leads to poverty. And I submit to everybody that if you choose not to plan a budget every month, that can be foolish from an April Fool's Day standpoint because you are hasty, and it says that could lead to poverty. And I want you to have prosperous. I want you to have profit. So don't do that.
Perfect. All right, mistake number 3, we actually alluded to this earlier, but leaving savings in a bank account paying nearly 0% interest.
That's right. I mean, that can be a foolish mistake. Do you like the way I'm saying that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there a better way to say it?
I don't. You're adding some extra O's in there.
Foolish. Foolish. No fooling. Anyhow.
Is that Jamaican? What's happening?
I'm working on it. Yeah, it is Jamaican. I'm reminded of my honeymoon in Jamaica.
Oh, is that where you guys went?
Yeah, that's where I went. Ochos Rios.
We did St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
It was awesome.
Both are amazing.
Yeah, let's go back.
Yeah. And so the leaving savings in a bank account paying 0% interest is just not smart. Like literally, big banks are paying 0.04%, nearly 0%. And we have a running list of them on our website that are paying over 2%.
Just
dollar minimum
awesome.
balance, no
Yeah.
fees, FDIC insured. So you're literally just saying, I don't want free money.
Yeah.
So make your money, at least keep pace with inflation. And so don't do that.
All right. Mistake number 4, not contributing enough to their retirement plan to receive the entire company match.
This is a massive one. And please hear me. If you're under the age of 30 and you're not contributing to retirement because you think retirement's a long ways off, take it from a person who's just turned 45 yesterday. And you know, what? And I'm only a third of the way through my life, so that's awesome. I'm going to live to 135. And so I'm sure of it. But anyhow, if you're under 30 and you think you can forego this, here's what I want to tell you. If you don't contribute to retirement for 5 years during your 20s, that will be the difference of over $350,000 for the average person in their retirement account at retirement.
Wow.
Just foregoing the match.
Yeah.
And so this is free money. It's part of your compensation at your workplace. Don't miss out on that. It is just foolish. And one of the great things that we know is that the government incentivizes you
to save money. In Canada, you have the RSPs, you have the tax-free savings accounts. Every nation has got a plan that allows you to put money away, and they incentivize it because if they know that they can incentivize you to save, then you will not be costing them social dollars to support you during retirement. And it also leads to an attitude of wellness. It is a proven fact that people that have their money rolling in the right direction and don't bear that extra stress have less health concerns along the way, and they experience less negative pressure, which is known as stress. So please, please, please make sure that you know how much your company matches, if they do match at all. And if they do, make sure you're contributing enough to get the match. We talk about this in the ladder. That is rung number 3, contributing enough to get the company match. And so don't forego that. I'm asked all the time, Megan, from when I talk to people, I say, hey, how many here are contributing enough to get the full company match? And a lot of people raise their hand and say, I don't even know what the match is. How do I find out? This is as simple as going to your human resources department.
HR. Mm-hmm.
Go talk to them and do that. So let me ask you the question, Megan.
Yes.
Are you contributing enough to the company retirement plan here at I Was Broke, Now I'm Not to make sure you get the full company match?
I am.
That's right. Isn't that awesome?
It was not, I think it was like the first day I started, it was like, okay, this is what you're going to do. But it wasn't like I wouldn't have done it. So.
We make people sign a 16-page document to say, I will not do it. Because we teach this stuff for a living. It'd be helpful if everybody here is living it.
Yeah. But I don't think anybody here would have not done it.
But it's free money that I want to give to you.
Yeah.
And you earned it anyhow. By the way, it's part of your compensation package.
Yeah.
And we want to incentivize right behavior so that you listen. It's great that you have worked here. You've added all this value. You're part of this wildly successful podcast, and it's amazing, right? But you're a temporary employee. So am I. It might be 40 years temporary,
right?
But at some point in time, we're going to have this day where we're going to go peace out. All of us at our jobs. You're listening to this podcast. You're going to say peace out, or your boss is going to say peace out to you. One or the other is going to happen. And your temporary period, whether it's years or decades, is going to be over. And if you've not planned appropriately, it's going to be a very, very, very sad day. And listen, missing your company match with free money is one very easy way to help make sure you're on track to fund those retirement dreams. Yeah. Don't miss out on it. That would be foolish.
Yeah, it's funding my trip to the Maldives when I retire.
Where is that? The Maldives?
We have talked about this on the previous episode.
I don't remember.
It's all the way on the other side of the world.
On the other side of the world, the Maldives.
Very far.
That's awesome. If you're listening in the Maldives, I am accepting speaking requests in the Maldives right now, actually.
And the whole team would have to go.
And the whole team apparently will go.
Are you looking it up where it is?
Yeah, that's great. That's something that we get to do on the podcast.
I'm telling you, it's far away, but it's beautiful. Look at those pictures.
That's great.
A little island. They have those little bungalows on the water.
I love it. It's off the tip of India.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, the next one. Mistake number 5, putting off contributing to their retirement account.
Period.
And
so you might say, what's the difference from this one and the last one? Well, the other one was not contributing enough to get the full match. The other foolish one is just not contributing at all. And let me tell you some reasons why people choose not to. And it's all a foolish decision, but I understand why people do it, but it just ends up being a negative financial event. One of the reasons why is they feel like they can't afford it. This really happens for young people when they're first coming out of college. They got student loan debt, or they're trying to start a household and they're now having to cover all their bills themselves. They're off the payroll from mom and dad, and they're like, I just can't afford it.
It's a rude awakening.
And other people, they might be a little more aged. They're my age. They're 50s. They may be in their early 60s, and they're like, it's too late for me. No, it's not.
It is with that attitude.
That attitude. That's a foolish attitude, right? And that's awesome. I like it. But the bottom line is that it's not too late, and it's never too early.
Yeah.
Start. And I don't know anything about investing, Joe. I don't even know how any of this stuff works. It's as simple as going to Next Steps on our website and clicking on investing and selecting any one of the ones listed there. I like Schwab.com, TDAmeritrade.com. Lots of them are on there. I like them all. And all of them have help centers. And they have phone numbers you can call and get help on starting to invest in the stock market. If you like real estate, there's lots of teachers on how to invest in real estate. And I encourage you to pick up our book, Oxen. Maybe you've bought it at one of our live events, or you can buy it at the store on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it teaches about investing and how to get comfortable with this idea of taking some risk with your money. But the ultimate goal is to have your money making money for you.
Right.
That's what retirement is. That your investments make enough that it replaces your income. Is that happening for you yet, Megan?
Yes.
It is? Your investments are making enough to replace your entire income?
I guess if that's the case, I wouldn't be here. But they are making making money for me.
So what you're saying is you're here for the money. I like it. That's great. No, but the truth is, we would all work for free, except for we have those things called
pesky bills.
Pesky bills and children and all that stuff. But the bottom line is, the day that you realize that your investments are earning enough to cover all of your cost of living is the day you could choose to retire. And that's when you get to choose what you do with your daily work. And you don't really care what it produces for you. And so that's what I want for everybody. I want people to be able to live that fully funded life doing exactly what they were made to do. And Megan, if you're called to do something different, I want you to be able to get in a financial position to where you can go do that, even if that something different pays you no dollars or $10. It doesn't matter. My dad right now works at a school as a grandparent at school. He's a tutor.
No.
And he's there Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 11:30. Actually, I think they just moved it to the afternoon. I think it's 11 to 2 now. So 3 hours. He gets free school lunch and $10 a day. That's what he gets. Why does he get to choose to do that? Because he positioned himself to retire well. And he's living out a dream. He always wanted to be a teacher. And so that's pretty phenomenal. And I want that for everybody. I want it for me. I want it for you. I want it for all God's children. Fired up.
Does he read his book when he goes?
He does. He actually reads his book.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
So Joe's dad has written a book, that children's book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
rat cat.
The city cat and the city rat moved to the country.
Mm-hmm.
Ratcatbook.com.
Yep.
Fired up.
That's awesome. All right. So do you have any last minute mistakes before we move on? Ones you just thought of that you have to share?
There's another very foolish mistake.
Let's hear it.
Not listening to this podcast every week and not
subscribing.
sharing it with your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely foolish. No, we really do thank you when you share it with others and listen in. Hopefully those are helpful and that you just ticked off the box and said, I'm not doing any of those bad decisions.
That's right. All right. So hot seat questions. All right. Number 1, what is one of your guilty pleasures?
What is a guilty pleasure?
Like it's something like you might be like embarrassed if people knew about. Or like maybe like a food item that you eat that you're like, I probably shouldn't eat that, but
I eat Jack in the Box tacos.
Yeah, it's bad.
They're awesome. In fact, there's a great Wall Street article. No one in the office eats Jack in the Box tacos. They raised the price on them. I'm very frustrated. Price went up 20%. 2 tacos for $1.19 now. And they're a deep fried taco. And the Wall Street article, it says something like Americans eat 540 million Jack in the Box tacos per month, I think it is. And no one knows why. And it calls them fried envelopes of wet cat food. And I love it. It's a great description and it's amazing. It has a slice of American cheese in it. It's awesome. And wilted lettuce, which makes it very healthy. That's a guilty pleasure. Once per month.
Once per month?
Shh. Don't watch the YouTube video because Megan's giving me the look.
It's not once per month.
It's an accusing look.
It's like it's less than 2 minutes from our office, so Joe usually disappears.
Well, what's one of your guilty pleasures?
Like food wise, I love hot tamales, but they are terrible for you.
The type. Oh, hot tamales, the candy?
Yeah, the candy.
Oh, the candy. Oh, I thought like real tamales,
It's
like made in the corn husk.
No, it's like I do like those too, but it's like you're eating wax.
Yeah.
But I cannot stop.
Huh.
Like,
that's great.
They're just so good.
I love it.
Yeah, but they're terrible for you. That's okay. What would you perform at a talent show?
At a talent show?
You'd do the piano.
I would do piano or origami.
Origami.
I'd make a paper crane, one of the little birds that flaps. That's probably 2 skill sets. Or I would make butter from cream, show kids how that's done. They always seem to be excited about that. Or I would show them how to crochet and make something out of it.
That'd be a good
That's
one.
four skills.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know what I would do. A
You
talent
used
show.
to be a cheerleader. Would you do like a back
did
handspring
that.
or something?
Yeah, but it's been a hot minute since I've done one of those. I would have
Can you
to-
do one without using your hands, like a complete flip?
like a cartwheel?
Yeah.
Like a no-handed cartwheel?
Yeah.
Probably not right now.
Okay.
Well, I'm also 9 months
No.
pregnant, but oh
Awesome.
man. All right. What reminds you of home?
Flat cornfields.
We don't have any of those.
And
a
one of the
lot
things I
here.
love in the summer is running in the flat cornfields because the corn starts growing and it has a very distinct odor. Corn does, the plant does, as it's growing. And smelling that reminds me of home.
I bet food does too, because you talk about your mom.
My
Your
mom
mom's
is cooking.
cooking.
She can throw down.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right. So for our next episode, we're going to talk about money inspirations. So next week, we're going to share some ideas on how to keep from getting burnt out and stay inspired on your money journey.
And I'm going to be fired up. It's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
We are going to inspire you. It's going to be like an unbelievable tent revival of money. Get fired up.
The Pentecostal side's
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Get fired up. You'll all. It's
We'll
going to be
have to
amazing.
detach
Get
the
inspired
microphone.
and fired up session. I know you cannot wait. That's going to be episode number 40. I think.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I don't know when that happened. All right. So if you liked today's episode, please help us get the podcast to others who could benefit. You could do this by quickly rating our podcast and leaving us a review. These ratings and reviews will help us make our podcast better for other listeners. And don't forget, on the last Monday of the month, we're going to be answering your top money questions. So if you have questions you want answered, send us an email, give us a call. You can email us at info@iwbnin.com, and it could be featured on the podcast. And lastly, if you've implemented one of our tips, make sure you share your success story with us. We would love to hear it.
I have one more confession.
Oh, gosh.
I have piles of credit card debt.
April Fools.
See you next week.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.